Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. In this video, let us take a look into the practical session of gram staining. First, we will learn the principle and procedure for gram staining. Later, we will move into the performance. Gram staining is the most common, important and widely used differential staining technique in microbiology, which was first developed by a Danish bacteriologist Hans Christian Gram in 1884. This technique is named after this scientist. Gram staining is used to classify and differentiate the bacteria into two broad categories based on its cell wall composition. The first one is called as gram-positive bacteria and the second one is called as gram-negative bacteria. After the staining procedure, when the microorganism or the bacteria is visualized under the microscope, gram-positive bacteria will appear purple in color, whereas gram-negative bacteria will appear either pink or red in color. Therefore, it is called as a differential staining procedure, wherein we are differentiating between the two groups of organism, that is gram-positive and gram-negative. Let us take a look into the principle and procedure of gram staining. The principle for gram staining lies in the cell wall composition of the bacteria. The cell wall of gram-positive bacteria will vary from the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria. If you take a look into the cell wall composition of the gram-positive bacteria, the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria is made up of a thick peptidoglycan layer. If you split the word peptidoglycan into two parts, peptide means amino acid chain and glycan stands for sugar units. So the sugar units and amino acids together makes a peptidoglycan. The sugar units in peptidoglycan layer is nothing but NAG and NAM. NAG stands for N-acetyl glutamic acid and NAM stands for N-acetyl muramic acid. Both these sugar units are linked together by a peptide chain, amino acid chain. This NAG and NAM units, which are linked together by an amino acid chain, is called as peptidoglycan layer, which is very thick in gram-positive bacteria. Later, the cell wall of this gram-positive bacteria is followed by a plasma membrane. If you see the gram-negative bacteria, the gram-negative bacteria has an outer membrane which is absent in gram-positive bacteria, and the gram-negative bacteria has a peptidoglycan layer, but it is very thin. The cell wall of gram-negative bacteria is again followed by a plasma membrane. So there are two membranes. There is an inner membrane and an outer membrane in gram-negative bacteria, whereas in gram-positive bacteria there is only a thick peptidoglycan layer and an inner membrane, that is plasma membrane. So if you observe this carefully, the gram-negative bacterial cell wall has more of lipids and less of peptidoglycan layer, and gram-positive bacteria has more of peptidoglycan layer and less of lipids. So there lies the principle. Let us look into the procedure. Simultaneously, during the procedure, I will explain where is the difference and what is making the bacteria appear purple or pink after the staining procedure. The first step here is to make a thin smear of the bacterial culture on a clean, grease-free glass slide. Once a thin smear is made, the smear is air-dried, heat-fixed, and later the smear is flooded with the primary stain, that is crystal violet. The crystal violet is left on the smear for about 1 minute. So during this time, the bacterial culture is going to observe the crystal violet stain and it is going to appear purple. At this stage, if you observe the slide or the smear under the microscope, all the cells are going to appear purple. Later, after 1 minute, the smear is washed. The crystal violet is been completely washed from the smear and later it is flooded with grams iodine. Now here grams iodine is going to act as a mordant. Now what is the importance of mordant? Now mordant is going to bind with the crystal violet. The crystal violet is now present in the cell wall of the bacteria. So the iodine that is there, the mordant, is going to bind to the crystal violet and it is going to form a complex with the crystal violet known as CVI complex. CVI stands for crystal violet iodine complex. Now iodine is making the crystal violet to fix or adhere onto the cell wall of the bacteria very tightly. So crystal violet iodine complex will help the crystal violet to adhere tightly onto the cell wall of the bacteria. After adding iodine, this iodine will be left onto the smear for about 30 seconds. Later it will be washed off. So during this reacting time, that is 30 seconds time, crystal violet iodine complex will be formed. After this step, after the iodine step, we are going to decolorize it. The step 3 is called as a decolorization step. So here we are going to use a 70% alcohol. After washing the iodine, 70% alcohol will be flooded onto the smear and it will be left for 10 seconds. Here comes the difference. Now the alcohol, when it is added onto the bacterial culture, the alcohol will dissolve the lipid content that is there in the gram-negative bacteria. If you see, the gram-negative bacteria has a lot of lipid contents. So alcohol will dissolve all the lipid contents. So therefore, the crystal violet which is bound to the cell wall will get washed off. Whereas in gram-positive bacteria, there is a thick peptidoglycan layer which will not get dissolved. So therefore, the crystal violet will remain, the crystal violet iodine complex will remain intact onto the cell wall of gram-positive bacteria. So here we have to do this for about 10 seconds. The decolorization is only for 10 seconds. If we leave it for a longer time, then there are chances that the alcohol will again react with the peptidoglycan layer and wash off the crystal violet. So therefore, the alcohol will be left onto the smear only for 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, the smear is again washed by running tap water, or you use a wash bottle to wash the excess of alcohol, to remove the alcohol. Once alcohol is being washed off, the counter stain or the secondary stain is added onto the smear. Here the counter stain or the secondary stain is nothing but safranin. So when you flood the smear with safranin, the cells which have lost crystal violet, that is now the gram-negative cells have lost the crystal violet because of the decolorization step. So the cells which have lost the crystal violet will now take up the safranin, whereas the cells which have retained the crystal violet cannot take up the safranin because they are already stained with crystal violet. So therefore, the gram-positive bacteria, when it is visualized under the microscope, is going to appear purple because of the crystal violet stain that is having intact in the cell wall. It will appear purple under the microscope, whereas the gram-negative cells has lost the lipid content, and because of which they have taken up the safranin, the secondary stain or the counter stain, and hence they appear red or pink in color. So this is about the principle and procedure of gram staining. Now we will move into the laboratory and learn how to perform.
We shall now learn to perform gram staining. Let us take a look at the requirements. We need a clean, grease-free glass slide, bacterial culture, gram staining kit which consists of crystal violet, a primary stain, iodine which acts as a mordant, 70% alcohol which is a decolorizer, and a safranin which acts as a counter stain or a secondary stain. We need a Bunsen burner and an inoculation loop. Along with this, we also require a wash bottle and a staining tray. The first step in gram staining is to make a thin smear onto a clean, grease-free glass slide, for which the inoculation loop has to be sterilized. Sterilization of inoculation loop is done by incinerating it using a burner. Once the loop is sterilized and cooled, A small volume of bacterial culture is taken using the sterilized inoculation loop. So you can see here we are taking the small volume of bacterial culture using the inoculation loop. The bacterial culture is now spread nicely on the glass slide to make a thin smear. The smear has to be uniform. All of this has to be carried out under aseptic conditions only. So during this time, the burner has to be kept on. After making a thin smear, the smear has to be air dried. Also, we should keep in mind to sterilize the inoculation loop after use. Now you can see that the smear is completely dry. Air drying is one of the methods to fix microorganism onto the glass slide. It also helps in maintaining the morphology of the cell. After air drying, the smear is now heat fixed by passing the glass slide onto the flame. Heat fixing helps the microorganism to adhere onto the glass slide. You can see the glass slide now. It is completely dry and the organisms are fixed onto the glass slide. Once the heat fixing is done, the smear is placed inside a staining tray and it is now flooded with the primary stain, that is crystal violet. So we are going to flood the smear with a primary stain, crystal violet. Once the crystal violet is flooded onto the smear, it is allowed to settle on the smear for about a minute. Now it has been 1 minute. After 1 minute, the crystal violet is decanted and it is washed with water using a wash bottle. The smear can also be washed by placing it under a running tap water. So you can see that the crystal violet is washed. After this, grams iodine is flooded onto the smear. The grams iodine is left on the smear for about 30 seconds. Now it's been 30 seconds. The grams iodine is decanted. Now the smear will be flooded with 70% alcohol, which is a decolorizer. And the alcohol will be left on the smear only for 10 seconds. We should not leave the alcohol for more than 10 seconds. So you can see here, we are allowing the alcohol to settle on the smear only for few seconds. After 10 seconds, the smear is again washed with water. You can see we are washing the smear with water. After washing the smear with water, safranin, which is a counter stain or a secondary stain, is flooded onto the smear and it is left for 1 minute. It's been a minute now. After 1 minute, the safranin is decanted and the excess stain is again washed off with the water. So you can see we are completely removing the excess stain by washing it with water. After removing the excess stain, the glass slide is placed for drying. Once the glass slide is completely dry, it is observed under the microscope.
After focusing under the microscope, these are the observations that you can see. These images are being taken at an 100x objective lens. My bacterial smear was focused at 100x using an 100x objective lens, and these photos are being clicked. Now the bacterial culture that we used during the performance was gram-positive cocci. The first image that you are seeing was Staphylococcus. Now the example of a gram-positive cocci is Staphylococcus. So we used a staphylococcal organism to perform gram staining. So as you can see, the staphylococcal organism, the Staphylococcus, has a thick peptidoglycan layer, because of which it is appearing purple in color under the microscope. The other two images was previously done in our laboratory. So here there is an example of a gram-positive rod, a rod organism, the bacteria which is of rod shape. So they also have a thick peptidoglycan in it. So the gram-positive rod image you can see here. This was done previously in our laboratory, and this is a gram-negative rod. The gram-negative organism, as you can see, they are appearing red in color. The gram-positive organisms are appearing purple in color. Let us look into some of the examples of gram-positive organisms and gram-negative organism. Example of a gram-positive organism is Clostridium, Bacillus and Staphylococcus. Streptococcus is also gram-positive. If you look into the gram-negative organism, E. coli is a gram-negative organism. Shigella and Salmonella is again a gram-negative organism. Certain Enterococcus species, all of those are gram-negative organism. Now we don't have an image of gram-negative cocci because gram-negative cocci are pathogenic in nature. So we do not usually use gram-negative organism in our microbiology laboratory. The general labs will not have a gram-negative cocci because they are mostly pathogens. So these are the observations that we have made after performing gram staining in the laboratory. Thank you all. If you have liked my video, please hit a like button, share this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.